Leo, beloved flame of the zodiac, the stars have spoken clearly. A destined meeting is approaching on August 30th and 31st. And not just any encounter, this is a divine conversation, long written in your soul's blueprint, now ready to unfold in the physical realm. If you felt a subtle stirring in your energy, a knowing that someone is thinking of you, or that a chapter isn't finished, trust that intuition. You're not imagining it. What's ahead has been divinely orchestrated. You're stepping into a cosmic moment of reconnection, revelation, and release. And if you found this video today, that means your spirit is already responding to the alignment. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, a sanctuary of truth, timing, and transformation. Here, we don't just predict your future, we reconnect you with it. Through astrology, tarot, divine timing, numerology, energy healing, and spiritual psychology, we help you remember who you are and realign with what is rightfully yours. Right now, Leo, the universe is preparing you for a heart-centered conversation. One that will not only shift your understanding of a connection but perhaps even of yourself. This is no ordinary check-in or recycled message from the past. This is the kind of soul-to-soul contact that makes the air around you different. That unlocks clarity. That may finally answer what silence could not. And I know you've been strong for a long time. You've played the role of the bright one, the builder, the beacon. But even beacons need to be seen, truly seen. And this week, something or someone is being called back to see you. Not for what you do, but for who you are beneath it all. This connection may come through a message, an unexpected invitation, or an in-person conversation that has been delayed by fear, ego, or divine timing. It may feel like nothing. Or everything. Either way, it will change something deep within you because you've already changed. And when destiny sees that shift in you, it moves. So I invite you now not to brace yourself, but to open yourself. Open your energy to clarity. Open your intuition to confirmation. Open your heart, not for anyone else's sake, but because you're ready to hear what only truth can bring. And if your soul already knows who this is about, if a name or face has been quietly circling your thoughts, write it down. Anchor it into the moment. Let the universe see your readiness. Please take a moment to comment below and confirm this with me. Say, I am ready to receive the conversation I've been waiting for. Your words are a signal not just to this channel, but to the energetic realm that surrounds you. Thank you for your presence here. Your support, your time, your energy. It feeds this sacred space. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscription, it isn't just engagement. It's part of a divine collaboration. You're not just consuming a message, you're co-creating a movement. And trust me, Leo, you'll want to stay with me to the end of this message. Because what the universe is revealing next is nothing short of miraculous. Now breathe deeply. And let's begin. Leo, you've always been seen as the radiant one, the light, the warmth, the leader. But what many don't see, and what you often carry alone, is the weight of shining so brightly in a world that doesn't always offer the same light back. The journey you've walked over these past months hasn't been loud or visible to most people. It has been a sacred, silent healing. A process of unraveling illusions, letting go of connections that left you depleted, and sitting with long silences that once made you feel forgotten. But those silences, Leo, were not voids. They were vessels. Within them, you were being remade. Just as gold is purified by fire, your inner radiance has been refined not through applause but through solitude. You weren't simply wounded, you were waking up. There were moments when you felt misunderstood, mislabeled, or even overlooked. You may have poured your heart into others only to receive stillness, confusion, or even abandonment in return. But the truth is, healing is often invisible until the fruit begins to show. And now, something within you is beginning to bloom. The astrology is clear: the sun, your ruling planet, is approaching Virgo. This isn't just a shift in energy, it's a cosmic invitation. It marks a transition from emotional intensity to emotional clarity. While Leo energy burns bold and heartfelt, Virgo encourages refinement, discernment, and grounded awareness. You're being guided to not just feel deeply but to understand what your feelings are showing you. What you once took personally, you're now seeing through the lens of wisdom. That is growth. That is mastery. In the tarot, this phase mirrors the movement from the Five of Cups: grief, regret, emotional disappointment into the Star card. And the star never rises without first descending through darkness. It brings hope not because everything is perfect, but because it reflects the soul's resilience to choose light again after the storm. And here you are choosing to pause, to take care of your emotional well-being, to sit in quiet mornings and write down what your heart is holding, choosing to nourish your body not for vanity, but for vitality, to walk slowly under morning sun, to stretch your limbs and move your breath through parts of you that have felt locked, to say yes to foods that give your heart strength: warm oranges, golden turmeric, grounding pumpkin. You're building not only resilience, but reverence for your own aliveness. And what's most beautiful is that you are doing this not for someone else's gaze, but for yourself. This season invites you to become a better steward of your energy, not because you owe it to others, but because you finally see your worth independent of who notices it. There's a verse from scripture that comes to mind: guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. This is not about fear, it's about wisdom. Your heart, Leo, is not just a place where you feel, it's where your fire begins. It is the altar of your life force. And now, as you protect it, tend to it, listen to it, you become the version of yourself that doesn't just shine, but knows why. So this chapter of silent healing has never been a pause. It has been preparation, a remembering, a return, and the conversation that destiny is bringing to your doorstep. It won't define you, it will reflect the inner work you've already done. If this resonates deeply, take a moment to acknowledge that in the comments below. Say, I've been healing in silence, and I'm ready to be seen. Your words are a mirror of your process. You are not alone. You never were. And this next part of your journey? You've earned it. They've been there on the edge of your energy, brushing against the edges of your thoughts like the last notes of a song you can't quite forget. You felt their presence even in their silence, their name floating to the surface of your awareness when you least expect it. And perhaps you've wondered why. Why the connection lingers. Why their energy returns like a tide that never fully recedes. The answer, Leo, may lie not in what was said, but in what was withheld. This person, the one whose energy continues to echo within your field, is not a stranger to depth. In fact, their emotional world runs deep, so deep that it sometimes traps them. What you've encountered isn't indifference, but fear. What looked like withdrawal was, in truth, protection. Not from you, but from themselves. From the parts of them that don't yet know how to stay soft in the face of vulnerability. In astrology, we often speak of opposites as mirrors. Where Leo is open, expressive, and heart-led, this other soul may lean toward structure, control, and mental defenses. The Emperor, a card that governs authority and boundaries, speaks volumes here. They may have learned long ago that feelings are dangerous if not locked away. That appearing strong means staying silent. That asking for love risks rejection, and so they never ask. But hearts aren't meant to be ruled by fear. And even the most tightly guarded ones begin to ache when they feel the absence of what once brought warmth. That's where the Five of Cups enters. It's the card of quiet grief of mourning what could have been, not because it failed, but because it was never allowed the space to fully live. Regret becomes a teacher, and slowly, something begins to shift. Now, the Justice card shows up to balance the scale. Emotion and reason begin to meet. Their mind no longer drowns out the whisper of their heart. And while you may never receive the apology or explanation in the form you imagined, the energy is shifting. They are no longer justifying their distance. They are beginning to confront it. But this part isn't really about them, is it? It's about you. About what it means to care for someone who wasn't ready. About the bittersweet reality that love doesn't always mean readiness. And that the love you offer others must first be offered to yourself, unconditionally. You don't have to forgive to move forward. You only need to release the burden of misinterpreting their fear as your failure. And you must remember this: many people love you, Leo, but not all of them are brave enough to stay. That's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their journey. So how do you hold this? You hold it by staying with your healing. By anchoring your identity in your growth, not their silence. You meditate not to forget, but to reclaim space within yourself. Visualize orange light filling your heart, golden light expanding from your chest, red grounding you back into your power. These colors awaken your solar center, the part of you that shines not to be chosen, but because you already are. And if you find yourself wondering what they'll do next, try instead asking, what will I choose next? Because when you tend to your emotional garden, when you clear the residue of old heartbreak, you create space. Space not just for them to return, but for something Simone better aligned to arrive. If this speaks to what you've been feeling, take a moment and write it into the space below. Let your words be your release. You don't need closure to heal. You need truth. And today, that truth is yours. There are moments in life when the air shifts before anything is spoken. The atmosphere feels charged, but you can't quite name why. This is one of those moments, Leo. The days of August 30th and 31st are not just dates on a calendar, they are portals written into your soul's script long before you even arrived at this intersection. What you are feeling isn't mere nostalgia or overthinking. It is cosmic preparation. A divine alignment that is asking you to be awake, aware, and heart open. Astrologically, this period holds significance far beyond the ordinary. A full moon forming a square with Venus brings tension, yes, but also truth. Venus, ruler of connection and vulnerability, meets the moon's full illumination, stirring everything that has remained unsaid. For Leo, this tension activates the house of expression, intimacy, and emotional reckoning. You may find yourself speaking words you once swallowed. You may finally hear words that were once withheld from you. Either way, the theme is clear. This is the time to confront, not avoid. To express, not repress. To release, not recycle what has already served its purpose. And yet, what's most important about this cosmic window is not the drama or emotional spike it may bring. It's the invitation to respond not from old wounding, but from your current level of healing. That is why the cards aligned here are so crucial. The Knight of Cups speaks of emotional sincerity, the Page of Pentacles of new beginnings in learning and growth, and the King of Pentacles, the grounded one, asks you to hold steady, to lead from inner wealth, not outer performance. This encounter, however it arrives, is not random. Whether it comes through a quiet message breaking the silence, a heartfelt apology long overdue, or a final conversation that closes a karmic loop, it is meant. It was placed here for your evolution, not your confusion. And while it may stir the past, its purpose is to empower the present. You may be tempted to analyze their motives or protect your heart with guarded words. But this isn't a test of cleverness, it's a test of heart. Can you meet the moment with honesty instead of ego? Can you listen deeply, not to react, but to truly understand where you stand now? If your heart still carries tenderness for this person, let that softness speak. Don't apologize for caring. But also, don't diminish the growth you've done simply to maintain a connection that no longer reflects who you've become. If love remains, say it. If peace is all that's left, honor it. But let either come from clarity, not craving. There's something powerful in responding without expectation. In speaking what's true without needing the other person to validate it. That's the soul's way of saying, I've outgrown the story, but I still respect what it taught me. Let this meeting, whatever shape it takes, be a mirror. If it's a new beginning, let it be rooted in honesty. If it's closure, let it be blessed with grace. And if it's something undefined, allow that, too. Not everything needs to be named immediately. Some of the most sacred transformations begin with mystery. This chapter isn't asking you to win or lose, stay or go. It's asking you to show up fully, honestly, from your center. So if you do receive the call, the message, the open door, pause. Breathe. Then respond from the quiet knowing of your own soul. That knowing says, you are enough, no matter what they say. And what's meant for you will never require you to shrink to receive it. If this resonates with what your heart has been quietly preparing for, let your voice be heard below. Say, I'm open to what the universe has planned for me, and I trust myself to meet it with grace. You are not alone in this. You are simply awakening to the conversation that was always written in the stars. Numbers are not just symbols. They are frequencies, whispers from the invisible layers of reality, coded messages that resonate with our energy fields and inner timelines. And when certain numbers begin to show up repeatedly, especially during moments of emotional shift or spiritual transition, they're not random. They are the universe speaking directly to you. Right now, Leo, you're being invited to notice what's showing up, not just on the clock or in sequences, but in your dreams, in your thoughts, in your encounters. Numbers like 3, 8, 11, and 17 are carrying energetic keys into your next chapter, and if you're paying attention, they will gently nudge you toward alignment. The number 3 speaks of creative trinity, the intersection of thought, emotion, and action. It's a reminder that your healing journey is not just emotional but deeply creative. You're not just recovering from something, you're redesigning your internal universe. This number invites you to speak, to write, to dance, to release. Let your feelings take shape in motion or art. That's how you bring clarity to confusion. The number 8 is the number of karma, power, and infinite return. It tells you that what you've planted emotionally is circling back. If you've sown seeds of self-respect and personal integrity even when it hurt, they are now returning as blessings. This is the universe balancing what once felt unfair. It's not revenge, it's restoration. Then there's 11. The portal. The mirror. The meeting of soul paths. If you've been seeing 11 or 1111, it's not just a prompt to make a wish, it's a moment of clarity. A pause to recognize that something spiritually significant is aligning. It may be a person. It may be a conversation. It may even be a sudden inner knowing. But it's real. And 17, often overshadowed, is actually the number of hope after chaos. In the tarot, 17 is the star healing after the storm, light returning after loss. It is the reminder that you can believe again. That your softness was not your weakness. It's what kept your heart open. Names or places that begin with the letters L, A, D, N, or R may surface for you now, not necessarily as a destination, but as a symbol. A name that suddenly tugs at your memory. A word that appears in a dream. A city that keeps popping into conversations. Don't dismiss it. The soul remembers what the mind forgets. These letters may hold the vibration of an old love, a new beginning, or a turning point disguised as coincidence. Astrologically, the presence of Taurus, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Scorpio energies in this reading points to karmic interplay. Each of these signs represents a quality of energy you're either being drawn toward or asked to release. Taurus brings grounding but can trigger stagnation. Sagittarius brings expansion but may surface avoidance. Gemini invites connection but can feel scattered. Scorpio pulls deep healing but may unearth hidden fears. Which of these speaks to the lesson you're navigating now? Trust your instinct. Symbolically, if you're seeing butterflies, it is not cliché confirmation. Transformation is never sudden. It's layered, it's messy, and it often feels like nothing is happening until you look back. A rainbow may be calling you to forgive, not to dismiss what hurt you, but to no longer carry its weight. And an open window, literal or metaphorical, may show up in a dream or an unexpected opportunity. That's the universe saying, walk through. You're ready. Colors are anchors. Use them to stabilize your energy. Wear or surround yourself with copper gold when your confidence feels dimmed. Let ruby red strengthen your emotional courage, especially when words are hard to speak. Use olive green when you need to have a gentle but necessary conversation with someone else, or with yourself. You are not just receiving signs. You are decoding the language of your soul's timeline. The more present you are to them, the more clearly the path unfolds. If any of this resonates, speak it into the comments. Say, I see the signs. I'm listening. I'm ready. Let your awareness become your alignment. Let your noticing become your next step. The universe never sends transformation without first inviting preparation. That's what this moment is, Leo, a sacred invitation to ready yourself not just emotionally, but energetically, for the conversation your soul has sensed from a distance. We've walked together through the deep waters of your silent healing, the return of a connection shaped by both fear and growth, the destined alignment of energy in time and space, and the subtle signs encoded in numbers, names, and symbols. Now we arrive here, the place where inner knowing becomes conscious action, where the invisible becomes real. This is where you meet destiny not as a passive receiver, but as a conscious co-creator. Energy moves fastest when it's witnessed. And nothing witnesses more clearly than the page, the mirror, and the stillness of your own presence. This practice is not about manifesting someone back into your life. It is not about scripting your way to a desired outcome. It is about becoming energetically clear and emotionally honest so that whatever unfolds at reunion or release, you are grounded in your truth. Begin by writing down what you wish you could say to them. Not what you should say. What your soul would whisper if there were no fear, no ego, no need for control. Let your heart be honest without expectation. Then, write what you long to hear from them, not because they owe you those words, but because your heart deserves to name the truth it's been holding on to. Naming isn't demanding. It's honoring your own emotional clarity. And finally, write down what you know you must release, but anger, hope, old stories, or imagined outcomes that have quietly kept you tied. Let this be your soul's permission slip to let go, not with bitterness, but with liberation. Your freedom doesn't require their agreement. It requires your alignment. After you've written, stand in front of a mirror not to judge or perform but to witness yourself. Read your words aloud with gentleness. Let your voice carry the truth of your heart back to your own ears. Speak it as a declaration, not a request. And when you finish, place your hand over your chest and say, I am ready for the truth, whether it brings a beginning or a peaceful end. This statement opens the path for honesty to meet you where you truly are. And then comes the most powerful step: silence. For 15 minutes each evening, on the 30th and 31st of August, give yourself space to simply listen. No phone. No music. No agenda. Just you, your breath, and the energy moving around you. This is where the guidance arrives, not in loud thunder, but in the gentle nudge of a memory, a word, a vision, a sudden clarity. If something comes through, a symbol, a dream, a physical sensation, write it down. Don't analyze. Just witness it. Trust that it will make sense in time. This exercise is about anchoring your energy in preparation, not in performance. The more you align yourself with emotional transparency, the more gracefully you can navigate what's to come. The future will unfold whether you prepare or not. But when you meet it with clarity, it arrives with softness rather than chaos. If you feel moved, share your experience in the comments. You can simply write, I am ready. Or you can describe the sign you received or the shift you felt. Your vulnerability may become someone else's validation. And in that way, we become mirrors for each other, just like the mirror you stood before. This is not a ritual of control. It's a ritual of trust. Of surrender. And in that surrender, Leo, you'll find the most powerful kind of readiness, the kind that doesn't cling to outcomes, but welcomes truth in whatever form it arrives. You're not just preparing for a conversation. You're preparing to meet the next version of yourself. And that is sacred. Destiny may place someone at the threshold of your heart, But Leo, only you hold the power to open that door. And that power, the one to say yes, to say no, to say not yet or not anymore, has always been yours. This journey, no matter where it leads from here, has already revealed your growth. Because to feel as deeply as you have, to confront your fears, to stay open in a world that often rewards detachment, is no small act. It's a revolution of the heart. Whether the upcoming conversation brings closure, clarity, or an unexpected continuation, know this: you have already succeeded. Not because you won anyone back or walked away first, but because you paused to understand, you chose to reflect, and you committed to healing rather than clinging. That is strength. That is emotional maturity. That is what turns karmic loops into sacred completions. So as you prepare to move forward, ask yourself gently, what do I know now that I didn't know before? What parts of me are more whole, more grounded, more loving, not because of another's actions, but because of my own intention to evolve? And if your answer leads you back to your own heart, then trust that you're already on the right path. Maybe now is the moment to consider, what kind of relationship am I truly ready for? One built on clarity, presence, and mutual growth? Or am I still replaying old stories, hoping for different endings from the same patterns? These questions are not meant to judge a theory, meant to awaken. Because awareness is the first step toward rewriting the script of your emotional life. And if this message has stirred something in you, if it's reminded you of your resilience, your worth, your capacity to choose again, then take a moment to affirm it. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Share, I'm choosing to open the door only for what aligns with who I am now. Let that be your boundary. Let that be your blessing. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Your presence here, your willingness to reflect, and your openness to these messages are what make eternal mindfulness a living space, not just of knowledge, but of collective healing. Every like, every comment, every subscription is more than an algorithm boost. It's a ripple in the energetic field that says, I am part of something greater, and I'm showing up for it. And trust me, Leo, the universe sees your courage. It always has. That next version of you, the one who is clear, peaceful, and no longer waiting for love to arrive, is already emerging. So stay open, stay steady, and know that you're never walking alone on this path. The cosmos is always whispering, always guiding, always loving. If this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share it with someone who may be standing at their own emotional doorway. And as always, I'll meet you again in the next message. Until then, walk gently, speak truly, and honor your heart. It's been leading you home all along.